Hello, my name is Ted Godwin, Chairman of the Johnston County Board of Commissioners, and I'd like to thank you for attending this virtual program today. When the Triangle East Chamber asked me to say a few remarks on behalf of the county, I went back to the notes that I delivered to our meeting in January on the state of the county, and I realized immediately that that was before COVID-19, before the pandemic. So everything that was put together in there to some extent became moot. So I've put together some thoughts on where we are in the county right now. Since COVID-19 has affected us so dramatically, not only in the way our commissioners meet, but also in, of course, the way people do business, and it has affected small businesses in a very negative way. And we're hoping that that will soon turn around and we can look at this thing behind us in the rearview mirror. I do want to urge everybody to wear your mask, wash your hands, keep your safe distance, follow all the recommendations of our county health department. We have not made it mandatory here in Johnston County, but I think it just makes sense to be responsible for yourself and your neighbor. We don't need to keep spreading this virus, and we need to get it behind us. Johnston County is looking very good right now in spite of the pandemic. When we put together our anticipated budget for 2021, we took it in a very conservative fashion because we didn't know the impact on our sales tax. But now we're seeing actually about a 4% increase over last year's sales tax. So our numbers are looking very good. Our finance department, our county manager always takes a very careful and conservative tact when it comes to budgetary items. And I think they do a fantastic job. And right now we're looking at a very healthy fund balance. And I think it's going to help us finally achieve that AAA bond rating we've been striving to get all these years because of how much money we have to borrow to build schools and other capital improvements. To that end, that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about today briefly. The capital improvement plan, the CIP. We keep a long-range plan, 7 to 10 years, and we're updating that right now. We're using our finance department, a lot of experience, a lot of history. But we're also using financing models through our firm that we contract with, Davenport and Associates, and they're very helpful in this type of municipality planning. There's a lot of needs in our county, capital-wise. We're in the last year we talked about planning for the detention center. Well, it's underway. It's coming out of the ground now, and we should be opening that facility in early 2022. What that will do is, it's much needed by the Sheriff's Department and has been for some time, but it will allow us to open up some areas in the courthouse that the court system needs terribly. And the bidding process for the detention center came in over $10 million under the planned budget. So it's afforded us an opportunity perhaps to look at a second phase to move maybe the Sheriff's Department and other departments to that site on the east side of Smithfield that will free up even more space in the courthouse, enabling maybe the DA and the other court-related facilities to expand and have access to the space they need. We're also looking at the biggest problem. If you ask a realtor, what's the most important thing about a property? And they'll say, well, the three most important things are location, location, location. Well, the three biggest problems in Johnston County that most people would agree with is residential growth, residential growth, and residential growth. It's been putting a lot of pressure on our transportation infrastructure, our water and sewer infrastructure, just infrastructure in general, our schools. And we've undertaken a very comprehensive land use study to come up with a land use plan that will drive density towards the towns and try to preserve our open space and leave our rural areas as rural areas, or as much as we can. I believe in freedom. I believe a man ought to be able to do on his own land what he wants to do, to a point. But I think this comprehensive land use study will enable us to approach that problem in a professional manner. And I'm hoping that through diligent efforts and cooperation and patience that we can come to an end result that everybody can live with and be happy with, and improve our quality of life instead of what we've been seeing lately with everything just going crazy. Another thing that we're working on is broadband. We have engaged a professional firm to help us identify where we need more work in our broadband accessibility. This program, of course, because of COVID-19, is being recorded remotely, but I'll have to take it to another location to transmit it to the chamber because I don't have proper internet connectivity here at my home. And that's just an example of the problems we're running into. My grandkids go to Glendale Kinley Elementary, and when they come to our house, they can't do their homework or work on their studies because we don't have proper connectivity here on the country road that I live on. And that's one thing that we're looking to improve on. That also has implications on our schools, building schools. You know, what's the future going to look like? This pandemic has enabled us to open some doors as it relates to technology-driven approaches to those things. You know, we've all attended Zoom meetings, and even our well-attended Veterans celebration this month was done virtually, and the school system did a fantastic job. And if you haven't seen it, be sure to go look at that at the school's Facebook website. But that's just an example of what can be done through this technology, and it may have broad implications on how we build schools in the future, how many schools we need to build. You know, that money may be better spent towards infrastructure, towards broadband infrastructure instead of bricks and mortar. So a lot of things going on in the county right now. We've just come through our election. All of the incumbents did return to office. I appreciate everybody who was involved in the election process. We did add a new member this year. Jeff Carver retired, and we welcome Fred Smith to the commission. He served 20 years ago before going to the state senate, so we welcome Fred back. The county right now is in good hands. We have a great county manager. We have an award-winning finance department. Things change, things grow, and hopefully things improve. But Johnston County is doing well. We support the chamber. We support the initiatives that they're looking at, and you know, whether it has to do with commuter rail or public transportation, perhaps I should say. But all of those things that we're looking at in the future. So thanks for attending.